Namaste. Welcome to today's live about how yoga can support your back health. But first, I'm Dawn. I'm a yogi and an online yoga instructor. I specialize in empowering professional businesswomen over 40 who are feeling burnt out and overwhelmed to use yoga tools to support their body, to connect with their body, and to move towards center and calm. I'm here today to talk about back health. It's a often talked about topic, and one of the first questions I always get when people ask that find out that I'm a yoga teacher, they ask, well, what can I do to help my back? So I'm not going to get into a lot of details on my specific protocol. However, I am going to talk about some generalities. But before I begin, a few other housekeeping items. If you are watching live, please hashtag live and say hi when you come in. Also, if you would feel comfortable, I'd love to hear what your number one thought is when you think about yoga and back health, or if there's a specific concern that you have about back health, might need something you might want an answer to, a question or a tip on. Please drop those in the comments, hashtag live. And the same goes if you're watching this on replay. Drop your comments, drop your questions in the comments, and I will come back and get back to you. And with the replays, I'd love to have you hashtag replay. Again, I'll get back to you when I can. So with a sedentary lifestyle, the body is put into a position that it's not designed or accustomed to be in. We as humans are designed to move, and the less frequently we move, over time our body becomes stiff and there may become discomfort or potentially pain. And I want to preface anything I am about to say with the reminder that I am not a medical professional. If you suffer from serious back pain, if you have any type of injury to your back, herniated discs, trauma, you've had fusion surgery, please be sure to consult with your practitioner before engaging in any physical activity, including yoga. And if you do have serious injuries, I do recommend you work one-on-one with a yoga teacher or with a personal trainer or like whatever movement practice you enjoy, and again under the care of your doctor. That especially with back issues, because they can be life-changing, and my technique of approaching back health and yoga is one of caution. My approach is to work with the individuals in my sessions, whether they're individual or group sessions, classes, where we move in a way that feels good in the body. My number one goal in all my classes, regardless of what program you're in or what class you're attending, is to remind everybody, first, that it's a safe place. Second, that you are invited to move within your comfortable range of motion, and that I'm here only to suggest you're welcome to change the sequence up and move in a way that feels good in your body. I've also been doing a lot of work to study anatomy and the traditional ways of cueing certain poses versus whether those techniques of cueing actually are as effective as the tradition may think they are. For example, the lower back doesn't move, yet often you may hear cueing where you're turning from the hips, or you're turning from the lower back. And a better approach for twists, if you don't have a back fusion, if your back is healthy, is instead to scoop the front of your belly in and up toward your heart. You may feel a natural lengthening in your spine. And then once your spine is lengthened and lifted and you're not sitting in your hips, your weight is out of your hips, then you can begin to open from the chest. Because actually the twist should be in the upper back, the thoracic, and then ultimately with your neck looking over your shoulder. Naturally, we twist with our heads. In yoga, my preference is to move slowly and to cue you from the bottom up, making sure your lower body is braced and supported, your lower back is supported before you move into the twist. Now, I do have a video that I posted on twists. I believe it was earlier this week. I will either tag it to my page, or I'll drop the direct link to that video in these comments when we're done, so you can go back and refer to that video to get a sense of what I'm talking about. So twists are one way you can open and expand and lengthen your spine. So another way you can support releasing tension, and again, these first couple poses are to think about releasing tension in your lower back. And one of my favorites is to simply place your hand on a surface. Step back until your arms are extended, and you can drop your head between your arms, or lean forward and stick your bottom back into a back stretch. And again, it's a great way to focus in on your breath and use your breath to release any holding and tension that you may have in your back. And then another wonderful way to release back tension are with side bends. But first, I want to say hi, Shara. Glad you were able to make it here today. Again, #live. If you're tuning in live, drop all your questions into the comments. I should be able to get to them during the presentation. If not, I'll circle back around afterwards and get back to you. If you have any particular points or additions to share on back health and good poses, please share those as well. So coming back to the side bends, when in modern life we do a lot of sitting, and with that there is an impact not only in the back body but in your hips and even your front body. So when you're sitting in your front of your computer, the front body tends to hunch in, and what the converse is, your back body lengthens, it stretches out. So there's a couple of different ways to look at creating a healthy back. And one of the ways I've started to talk about is the stretching or the elongation of the muscles in the back and around the back. And side bends are a great way to get into another part of the torso. And you may find with a regular practice of side bends, and again, the same principle as twists, you're lifting in and up on an inhale and then exhale, taking your body to the side. And again, doing it on both sides. Inhale, extend, exhale, slightly bend. You don't have to go far. You don't have to be in that side bend that you often see on social media. A little teeny tiny stretch is all you need. Again, sending your breath into the side body, it expands and creates not only space for your breath to grow larger, but you also have the possibility that you begin to stretch the lower part of your obliques, so from your lower ribs down into your hips, and you might even feel that in your hips. Again, approaching everything with caution and moving within your own personal range of motion. So certainly there's one element of back health that you can incorporate that deals with release of tension. And every class I teach usually involves some sort of grounding, connecting to your breath, cueing to remind you to breathe in your poses, and so on and so forth. So another piece of the puzzle is the strengthening piece. And coming back to the concept of the lengthening of the back when you're sitting all day, one of the byproducts of that lengthening and sedentary lifestyle is the back muscles begin to become weak. You find that your body is naturally tilting forward as we age. Many times you'll see people hunched over, and that's because their back is not as strong as it may have been in the past. So there's a number of ways that you can strengthen your back. And I like to start with the core, because really ultimately strengthening the core improves your quality of life across the board. So it helps you have better balance as you age. It also helps support your posture, helps keep you upright, makes you look beautiful and tall and elegant and powerful, which is awesome for everyone in the world to have that presence and that sense of confidence. And so as we move into yoga practices that are focusing on back health, there will be an element of course, the grounding and of the stretching and the release, but also sprinkled in, there will likely be some core work. And core is more than just the six-pack in the front. It's the obliques, your side body, as well as your back muscles. And there's a lot of different ways to incorporate different exercises into your yoga practice that will strengthen your back. And really the best exercises or the best poses, asana, that you can look into are poses where you're using your back to lift your body up. So for example, lotus pose. You're on your belly, you scoop your front of your belly up and in, so your lower back is braced, your core is braced, and then you use your upper back to lift you up and off the ground. So, and you can do that, you don't even need to go very far, but basically you want to avoid even cobra pose. If you do have cobra pose in your practice and you have your hands alongside of you, to get into the back muscles and strengthening the back muscles, instead of pressing your hands into the earth into cobra, instead you use that same technique of scooping your belly up and in, and then bringing your chest up just a little bit. And again, you're getting into the back muscles versus using your arms. So as you can tell, the back health is very complex and is very sensitive to me, in that so many of us have back issues, often because of the amount of sitting that we do. Now again, the rules are different. If you're very active and you work out regularly, your back discomfort may be more about focusing on releasing your back rather than strengthening. So if you are just doing yoga as your primary physical activity, then certainly there's ways to incorporate strengthening into a sequence and into your practice if that is your goal. So I'm not seeing any questions. So I wanted to share a little bit about the upcoming group class series that I will be launching on June 11th. There will be four 30-minute classes over the course of 8 weeks. The classes are every other week, and most of them are on Sunday afternoons at 2 p.m. Pacific. And the program title is Lengthen and Strengthen Your Back with Yoga. And each class will have a slightly different focus, and will incorporate different tools, different ways that you can move and practice back health off the mat. So the mat is the starting point, and then you have the opportunity to practice these techniques and tools off the mat as well. The beautiful thing about these group classes, they will be live, yet they will also be recorded. So you will have access to the recordings if you purchase the program for $44, very reasonable. And yeah, I think I got everything there. But if any questions come up, please feel free to DM me. I dropped the link to the page for if you want more information about the series. I've dropped that link into the comments. And I would love to have all of you join me. I'd love to have you there live for the classes, but again, if you can't make it live, I will be offering the people that purchase this class series the lifetime access to the class recordings. And if you have attended my classes in the past, please feel free to input any comments that you have on the classes, and I'm hoping I will see you all on the mat very, very soon. Be well, my friends. Take care.